Yes, you're live.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to ACDT number 80. It's May the 18th, and we've got quite a busy agenda, mainly talking about Amsterdam DevNet scoping. Before we go to DevNets, I wanted to bring up a few topics regarding scoping in general. This would be mainly just to, fast track a discussion for ACDE on Thursday. The first topic to bring up is from Julio, that he posted last week, but we didn't have time for. This is regarding bumping the max contract code size from 24 kilobytes to 64 kilobytes.
Yeah.
Julio, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. Right. Anyways, so there is already an EIP there is already an EIP to raise it to 32. So essentially what this does is just, modify the EIP, you raise it to 64. And it's something that I've been discussing async with people like for the past 3 weeks, I would say. I posted a message on Discord. I think all clients except Ifrax and GAF put an hack on it, and maybe I would like to get a formal hack on the call now so that we can put it in the next DevNet. I think that even if, we can even test in the DevNet, and if we see it doesn't work, we can just revert to 32, but I think it's worth to raise it to 64. Also because there has been some analysis done by both me and Carlos, and we proved that it should be safe even without a gas model to raise it to 64. So yeah, so I'm just looking for an hack from all clients, essentially, for that. So I don't know, Nethermine, are you okay with this?
Yes.
Okay. Bezu?
Yes.
Okay. Raf?
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay. So we're okay with it. Is there a Gav maybe on the call? Okay. So we can just, okay. Okay, so if there is no objection, then I guess we can go with it. Is that fine?
So
Lucas?
I think it would be good to get some feedback from benchmarking and repricing team on that too, to be honest, because they might have some additional insight. But that's it.
That's a very good question.
Should I do it?
Yeah, that'd be great, Maria. Thanks very much.
Yeah. So I think there's two things regarding benchmarking. So I think first is like testing the 64 versus 32 is essentially the same amount of work, and we are planning to do either way. So what this means is that once we have a DevNet where things are stable on implementation and we have all the repricings there, we do want to do a more extended benchmarking where we actually see, like, are there any operations that are bottlenecking us at the target gas limit that we set for Amsterdam. And I think that the tests to do either the 32 or 64 are essentially the same. We do have already some work done on this, so it should be feasible to do it. It's just a matter of having the implementations on clients and then as running the benchmarks. I think in terms of then repricings themselves, so should we have this change impact the cost of specific operations? I think I'm of the opinion, and happy to kind of discuss this a bit more broadly, but I'm of the opinion that right now it shouldn't be an impact on repricings. And the main reason for that is that we won't see a relevant number of these contracts on mainnet right away. And for an attacker to actually deploy those contracts, it will be expensive, especially because we are raising the cost of contract deployments. So I would think that we still want to do the benchmarking, but I would expect maybe this to be something that we'll revisit in the next fork. So once we have maybe more contracts deployed and this starts to become a possibility of attack. But until then, I would say we just price with the max size contract we had before the fork, and we benchmark and see the impact as well. But that won't have an impact on the state access EIP.
Right. So yeah, I want just to say that I'm just gonna repeat that. Carlos already did some sort of benchmark, but yeah, okay. I guess then I guess again we can kind of update it and revert it. So it's fine, I guess. Would we be fine then? Okay, yeah. Who was next that wanted to talk?
I think Ben.
Which DevNet would be the one we're targeting?
I don't know. The next, there is now DevNet 7, right? Coming up? Or I lost targets, I lost count.
Well,
It would
DevNet
be in
7.
Glamsterdam, then Glamsterdam DevNets. I think it's a small config change anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, yeah, I think we can. Yeah. So Glam 5, yeah, whatever, Glam 5. It's fine. Or the if but the DevNet 7 is supposed to come out today, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think maybe we can do maybe the next afterwards, because maybe it's too late now. Or yeah, exactly. Like it's late, so maybe we can do just Glam 5. So yeah, I think we can do that one. Right.
Okay, nice. Thanks, Maria. Marius?
Yeah, so I don't think we should price with the max 32 in mind. We should create a test for 64, because if we have, like, it is very hard to decrease the code size again. Like if we go to 64 and then we realize, hey, there's a problem, let's go back to 32. That's not super easy. And we might have until the next hard fork where we can decrease it, we might have enough 64 kilobyte contracts where an attack might be possible. The other thing is, if I remember correctly, with 32 and the current pricing, like before the repricings, you could load something like 6 GB of contract code in a block, if I remember correctly. So I don't think it's super easy to reason about what will happen if we like double from 32 again to 64. I also don't like the way this EAP ended up in the process, where it circumvented ACDE basically totally, and was like soft included in the at interop, which was exactly the same how the process was circumvented the last hard fork for Pectra. And it was the problem why Pectra didn't really work out, because we had like so many EIPs that are like last minute changed, and then we realized that the change is much more complex than we thought. I don't think there's much benefit to going from 32 to 64 in itself right now. So I don't know. I would be very cautious about this EIP.
Yeah, I agree that going from 32 to 64 should be done with caution. What I was saying before is that you can change it. When I say you can change it later, I mean you can try to include it in Gram 5. You need it to do the test anyways, and then you can revert to the next DevNet afterwards. That's kind of the point. Of course, you shouldn't ship it with the with the wrong value in the actual hard fork. That's kind of what that wasn't my intention, but yeah. So this is kind of the idea. So I'm not sure. Do we just try this because I mean there was a lot of from what I can see, the majority of people here are kind of okay with it. So yeah, we can benchmark all three of them too. I mean, with 64, you can benchmark all three of them because you can just deploy all of them. Okay. Okay, so do I just merge it? Yes, no? Any last minute complaints?
Okay. So let's see if we can try and reach some sort of conclusion today. So there's some noise in the chat. I'm sorry if the agenda was a bit misleading, by the way. This EIP is already CFI'd, right? And we have bumped, but this is about bumping it even more.
Yeah, I mean, just to answer Tony, like, yes, you can, yes, whether you need a gas model or not, you need to test it. I mean, Carlos already did this with GAF. It shouldn't require a gas model with 264, but you need you need this to test it. So I don't know. Here you go.
Okay. Barnabas is suggesting waiting for benchmarks before we merge this, which
Don't you need to merge it before I mean, you need to merge it before doing the benchmarks, right?
I would say we need at least we need all clients to implement it so that we can then benchmark it. Because otherwise you won't be able to craft a valid block that's
wouldn't it be easier to raise it to 64 so that everyone has it and then do the benchmark for 48, 32, and 64? I mean, it's just kind of it's just kind of I mean, it just sounds easier this way, right? I mean, I'm not saying that we should keep it for the final artwork.
Spencer.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, if this is going in Glamsterdam DevNet 5, which I assume will be in like a few weeks, like there's still a lot of time to, like, I don't know, to figure it out, like with the benchmarks.
So I know do we
Go for it,
tend
Julio, sorry.
huh?
Please go ahead, Julio.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I was just because I mean I just because I mean, do we just tentatively put it in and then revert it, or what do we do? What do we do? Because we need this implemented in clients at least to test it anyways.
I think we can either agree to update the EIP and revert it if need be, or that we just benchmark it with the different values and then update the EIP afterwards.
Well, it's fine. I think I will. I don't know. I don't know. I think I will update the EIP if that's fine.
Marius, are you okay with that, or do you have any strong objection?
I mean,
Yep,
it's
I'm
just
okay with
process.
it.
Okay. Yeah, Barnabas is asking us to move on, which is a very good point, or we're going to get stuck here. I think we all agree that we'd like to have this in and we need to benchmark it. So moving on to the next point, Dragan brought up an EFR&D, whether we can remove self-destruct. And for context, they're linked. And he wanted to hear from people whether like people that think it's too late to merge it or not. So does anyone want to express an opinion here? Ben?
Okay, going back to the previous one, is the code size is like a parameter change. This is an actual complete new EIP. Although I hate self-destruct, so I'm sympathetic.
Yeah, of course. This is a new IP. No one's written it. I just wanted to get a temperature check. For me, I think it's pushing it out a bit to include this now. It's relevant for this fork though, because of the ETH transfer logs in 7708. And Pavel drafted, well, he didn't draft, he has a CFI'd EIP now, 8246, which removes the self-destruct gas burn. It would be cleaner to do it all in one go. But I just wanted to bring it up for discussion, as Dragan mentioned in ETH R&D.
Yeah, I think the change code-wise is small, but the impact is bigger because we are basically deprecating, removing the functionality from the EVM. So yeah, I'm not sure. To be honest, I would like it to be included because there is a lot of edge cases with the different AIPs affecting self-destruct. So we all detaching self-destruct in some other way, basically including removing self-destruct as the new AIP, but we all detaching it from the other AIP. We are basically changing the same part of the code. So yeah, I'm not sure. I would like it removed. I feel that it is time to remove it, but I would understand if the people want to push it for next fork.
Thanks, Dragan, for the overview. Lucas?
Well, so last time when we were removing self-destruct, the multi-transaction, there was some small but vocal minority of people that were relying on this mechanism. So leaving it as is was the compromise. So I wouldn't rug pull them so quickly and give them check with them if they potentially migrated from it or like have some broader impact analysis on that again. So maybe consider it for the next fork.
Okay. I think, yeah, Barnabas just asked if we can propose a new fork, a new EIP for the next fork, Bogota. I think unless anyone has very strong opinions, they can raise it in ACDE. I think we can agree that that probably makes the most sense. All right, so moving on. I think we can jump directly to DevNet status for this for speed to try and compress a bit of timing. Let's have a look at BAL DevNet 7 and how ready we are to launch. So basically, the spec changes are that cost per state byte has been bumped to 1,530, and the protocol EIPs, E70 and 71, are now required. I think everyone is basically aware of all this. Spencer's basically about to push a new release very soon. Do you want to chime in with the differences on that release?
Yeah, I can be quick. So I believe last week we had 3 releases. So there was 7, 7.1.0, 7.1.1, and now we've just tagged a 7.2.0 release. It is essentially the same as the previous release. The only difference is a minor spec change with some new tests. So it will literally be new tests that clients need to pass. The release will also have a bunch of new block accessless tests. Yeah, it'll be out very soon after the call. But as far as personally, I feel like if clients are passing the previous release, they should be okay for launching the DevNet.
Nice. Yeah. Thanks. Just before we jump to the E71 PR, Tony, I just wanted to ask client teams and perhaps Stefan how they see the readiness for BAL DevNet 7.
So I've been doing some kurtosis testing with the clients that are passing all the tests right now. So that's right now Etherix, Nethermind, and Nimbus, and it seems to be going pretty well. I'm on Epoch 50, spamming quite a lot, and everything is still in order. So that's very nice. So my plan with launching the DevNet today. I think we will keep it that way. And launch, I think, the DevNet later on today. And then I will deposit the other clients. I think Bezo is still missing some tests, and Geth doesn't have a branch yet. And I'll look into all of the clients a bit more, and then launch end of the day today probably, or very early tomorrow morning.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for the update, Stefan. Does Geth have an ETA on when branch would land for DevNet 7?
No, we are still working on trying to get some of the changes into our master branch, and then at some point we will have hopefully by mid to end of this week we will have a branch for DevNet 7, but definitely not today.
All right. Thanks a lot, Marius. Dragon?
Yeah, just to mention, those clients have a bug that we found, and they need to fix it before launching Bolt DevNet 7.
Is this going to be in the 7.2 test?
Yeah, sure. But
Yeah, to be honest, that sorry,
I'm
you know
just
that's
mentioning, so sorry,
go for it.
go on.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, it would make sense. So if I get this release out, it's literally like maybe 9 extra 8037 tests. If clients could pass them before the DevNet, that would probably be better. Yeah.
All right, nice. Okay, so I think to gate client participation in DevNet 7, it will be using test spal at v720. And that should be released before the hour is up, before the call's over. Is that all right, Stefan? Can you hold back that long or test with that one?
That sounds fine to me. I mean, I can launch it and just set the fork for later also. I'll see. But yeah, I'll try to launch it tomorrow then, after the release.
Perfect. Thanks, Stefan. All right, so on BAL DevNet 7, we mentioned that E71 was required, and Tony posted that there's an open PR that should be merged. Would you like to chime in on that, Tony?
Yeah, last ACD we agreed that E71 will be mandatory for the next DevNet. As far as I remember, all of the clients have implemented E71, so this is ready to go. And it would be great if we can get this open PR merged.
Is there anyone in particular, Tony, that you need to have a look, need us to take a look? Anyone would you like to request a review from?
I think Felix has already said he will take a look at it. Yeah, but basically everyone who has an opinion on it, making sure everything is right there. But I think things are good to go, and yeah, I can ping Felix again async too.
Thanks, Tony. Just a quick, just a quick clarification. As the PR will go in, that's what should be on DevNet 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think clients have already implemented it, although it was not merged. But yeah, this is one of those that should go in because at some point we need it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So if there's any client devs who have implemented that and can take a look at that PR, it's Tony dropped it in the chat. Please take a look. It's in the agenda notes. All right. So I think the last thing that I would bring up, which is DevNet 7 related, is the fact that benchmarking is moving to BAL DevNet 7. Is there anything blocking on that side or anything that you'd like to bring up in the call from the benchmarkers?
I'm currently preparing the PR to merge from the benchmarking side and update the images.
Nice. Thanks, Stefan. If there's nothing from Maria or Joachim or Lewis, we'll just move on.
I would, sorry. I would like to add, so just to let people know that now would be also a good time for everyone to start merging their optimizations into this branch, or at least to have your optimizations complying with the specs of BallDevNet 7 so that we can start running them on benchmark core and seeing the results. I would also like to point out that I know there's a lot of work on these fork, and there's a lot of new EIPs coming in, but at the same time, right now optimizations are becoming a bottleneck because we need to have optimizations done so that we can set the final repricing numbers, and then that will have implications on, for instance, EPBS deadlines and these sort of things. So I would say if you can put a focus in the next couple of weeks on improving your optimization, especially for the state access. And so this means batch IO and state root calculation. I think it would be very helpful so that we can move the repricings forward.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Maria. That's a very good point. So there will be repricings made on this DevNet. Is there any timeline for when that will be made? Or is it more just about having implementations ready?
So what I mean is like, so for instance, for 8038, right, to get the final numbers on 8038, we need clients to implement a minimum set of batch IO and state root calculations in their code. And only after we have that, we can run the final benchmarks and see what the final prices should be. What we are looking now at the moment is like the results we are seeing from optimizations are not as what we would expect to be a performance after block level access lists. And so I think there's still some work to do there. And the cost is like the more we delay having these prices, the less time we give the community to adapt. And so I think that's why I think it's important to have these as soon as possible, and why it's important to have clients work on their optimizations. And I mean, I know that everyone is working very hard on the fork as a whole. I just my ask is that we put some focus on these rather than adding more EIPs. And if it's still feasible to finish optimizations and work on the EIPs, then that's fine as well. It's just I want to highlight how important this is and how of a blocker this is for the fork.
Awesome. Thanks, Maria. Thanks for stating that so clearly. I guess it's okay.
Dan?
Yes, Tony.
Maybe just to quickly add to that, I just posted a message based on Maria's what Maria just said in the BAL Discord. It would be great if clients could have a look, because I know most client teams have been very busy with the batch IO optimizations, but it would be great to get a feeling of which clients have already optimized for the post state root calculation, because this is now getting increasingly important, as Maria just said, because of state modification repricing stuff. So there the post state root calculation optimization plays into the picture. So I posted a message in the chat, and it would be great if clients could just chime in and let us know like how far they are with that optimization, such that we have a clear picture of what's going on there.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Tony. Yes, Lucas.
So to just give you, Tony, a bit of like higher level view. So for example, in Nevermind, we already have some optimizations regarding parallelizing a lot of stuff, but we are still working on stuff related to like better memory handling, lighter in-memory data structures, and locking mechanism, things like that, which still net us a bit of well, quite substantial improvement. And we need DevNet 7 and benchmarks for on DevNet 7 version for that, because kind of all the other like previous stuff is already kind of way obsolete, so we cannot really benchmark on that because we need the tight feedback loop of benchmarking, profiling to actually get there. So that's the state.
Thanks for the question. I think we've raised the point, and I think we've now realized the priority on this one. Thanks for setting up the thread in the Discord, Tony. I think clients can chime in there, and we can handle the updates async as they come in from client teams. Okay. So moving on to Glamsterdam DevNet 4. As I understand, this is mainly a merging point for the EL and the CL. It's basically targeting the BAL-DevNet 7 spec and the v1.7.0 minus alpha 8 consensus spec release that Justin dropped in the chat higher up. Does anyone want to talk about this DevNet? Did you want to maybe mention what's new in the release, Justin, or is everyone already clear on the scope there?
I do not want to mention everything that's new in the release. I'll just check the release notes for that. But yeah, what Poto said, make the CL in charge of the gas limit.
Nice.
Yeah, I would like to raise one specific point in the PR as 796. So this basically puts the target gas limit into the engine API, and basically the CL is going to be saying what kind of gas they're expecting to get. And it would be very nice if all the EL devs could deprecate their gas limit flags on their next GLOS releases, basically. That we're not gonna have like a mismatch of what gas limits we would be expecting.
Why deprecate on EL side? If somebody's already using that field, it would be like breaking change, and it was. If I basically run EL and CL and some version it's like not working anymore, and I'm not sure where to set it, so it would be a lot of confusion. I'll just leave it, and if CL like propagate that flag field, then just that field is going to override my EL settings.
I think that's a lot more confusing. But yeah, I mean, it's up to the devs in the end of the day.
And it's like there is different like version of EL, CL, depending on what version you are. Maybe you're going to have like EL that remove that field, but CL doesn't have that field.
No, but the CLs will all have it by GLOS. That's the point. And at the fork, after the fork boundary, the EL flag will basically have no effect on anything. So I'm not saying to deprecate it now. I'm saying deprecate it after GLOS.
Can we just confirm what DevNet this changes in?
This will be part of DevNet 4. Glamsterdam DevNet 4.
Okay, but not about DevNet 7.
No.
Cool.
Okay. So we can update potentially the HackMD to make that clear that this change comes in as well. So it's not just about DevNet 7. Maybe I missed it myself. I can double check afterwards.
No, it's not in BAL-DevNet 7, as I understand it.
I was mainly referring to the Glam DevNet 4 notes. Maybe I missed it there, but it's new.
It's there. It's definitely there.
Okay. Okay, well, it's good that everyone's aware that's there. I'll update the agenda afterwards. Thanks for sharing this, the notes, Ivan.
Yeah, so basically for the next DevNet iteration, we're gonna need to have a Glamsterdam specific branch and a BAL-DevNet specific branch for BAL-DevNet 7 and Glamsterdam DevNet 4. So we cannot just reuse the ball DevNet branch anymore due to this new change introduced in the engine.
So is this a shout out to client teams to create Lambstam DevNet 4 instead of just using their Valve DevNet 7 branch?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Never mind, and Etrax already done that.
Nice. Okay. All right, so I think that's clear for everyone now. Tony, sorry, you had your hands up earlier, and I tried to introduce you, but I was muted. Did you still want to say
No,
something?
I think it was clarified anyway. For a short moment of time, I thought someone was talking about deprecating a field in the EL header, basically deprecating the gas limit there. But
Yeah.
this is not what is going to happen. It's just a flag.
Yeah, okay, good. Thanks. Okay, so Glamstam DevNet 4 will be targeted after Val DevNet 7. Did anyone have any optimistic kind of timeline for that? Or should we just move on?
I've been testing locally with Prism and Etrax and Nethermind, and things are looking good. But I think we're gonna need a few more CLs for this as well.
Okay. Maybe it's more for EL client teams to get ready and create a branch for that. Okay. I guess we'll handle that async as well. But obviously we need to probably build DevNet 7 to launch first, just for focus, and then move on to Glamstam DevNet 5. Sorry, DevNet 4. Okay. So we still have a bit of time. Did we want to go into trying to scope Glamstam DevNet 5 today? I think it's definitely worth a discussion. A lot of topics were discussed in the repricing call last Wednesday. Things that would be relevant for getting the repricing locked in. Some important decisions to make. And Pavel also brought up removing the self-destruct burn EIP, which is already CFI'd. Maria, would you like to talk about the EIPs and the topics required for repricing?
Right. Yeah, happy to do it. So first on 7904, so this is the compute operation repricings. So after the block level access list optimizations, we realized that most clients are performing better than the target of 100 million gas per second. So this would mean that we would actually not require any repricing at all. The only exception was Aragon, that they were performing across the board significantly worse. They started to investigate the issue, and they found so they from their initial analysis, they feel like it's something they could fix on their side. So it's not any specific blocker from their implementation. Is just something that they can fix, and so they would be also fine with pricing by the second worst instead of the worst case. And so up until this point, from the benchmarking results we are seeing, it seems like we could even drop 7904, so we wouldn't need to change any compute related pricing. So there, what I would suggest is like not included in any DevNet so far. We can still keep it open and see, like, just double check once we start to see more results from Ball DevNet 7 that the performance keeps as we've seen the performance so far. But I would say it doesn't make sense for us to consider including it so far. And yeah, so Marius, that's for a target of 100 million gas per second. So yes, that would be to 300 million. Yeah, that is correct. And so that's 7904. Then we have 8038 and 2780. So 8038 is the state access EIP. So we are changing the prices of state access, and 2780 is the intrinsic costs reduction. And there, so my argument there is like we still don't have the final numbers for those EIPs. That is correct. And we would need the client optimizations to finalize those numbers. But at the same time, these EIPs are changing slightly how we price things. So it's not just an update on the parameters. And they also have some, so they kind of also have some interactions with the state growth EIP, so 8037. And so I feel like even without having final numbers, it could be beneficial to include both in the next DevNet so that we kind of implement the new gas model and then figure out all the interactions with 8037. And then once we have the final numbers, we go and we update just those numbers. And so yeah, so that was essentially part of the discussion on the repricing. So the first takeaway is that I think they are so interconnected that it makes sense to do them together instead of adding one and then the other. There's also a lot of interactions with 8037, so it would be better to de-risk it sooner rather than later. And then a possibility of doing that would be to use the numbers as they are right now, so the current costs of the EVM, and then we update the constants with the right numbers once we have the benchmarks. So yeah, I think that's the update.
Awesome. Thanks, Maria. Just to clarify for my own understanding, basically you would like to get them in DevNet 5 and you will do a benchmarking with 8038 and 278 in, and that might require like another loop on those two IPs to adjust the values afterwards. Is that what would be expected?
So I would expect the changes that we introduced by adding 8038 and 2780 wouldn't change the underlying performance of clients. So I think we could still do benchmarking on Ball DevNet 7 and continue to do benchmarking in further forks. Including them on Glamsterdam DevNet 5 is more to de-risk the implementation rather than having the final numbers and benchmarking them. So it's really just implement, make sure like the tests are correct and then the implementation on clients and the interactions with other EIPs are correct, while we continue to work on optimization so we can get the final numbers.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So from what you said, just summarizing, it sounds like we would get 8038 and 2780 in the Glamsterdam DevNet 5 spec. We would emit 7904 tentatively. And sorry, about RPC versus tracer, could you just summarize what your thoughts are there or provide a bit more context?
Right. So my understanding there was this was mostly helpful for 8037 debugging and testing. So was this idea of it would be nice when clients are debugging their own implementations of 8037 and even during test nets understand why clients are diverging, to have more information on the state gas versus regular gas that was used. And so there was a discussion on how do we do this? Should it be through the RPC or a tracer? And my understanding was like the tracer would be the solution that people seem to be preferring. But maybe Stefan, I don't know if you want to give an update there, because I think you were the one more into this discussion.
Into what discussion? Sorry.
This idea of adding more information about the state gas and regular gas usage during testing and DevNet.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't changed anything in the tracer or added a PR for that. I closed the other PR for the debug. What was it? Receipts, because that didn't really have that much approval. So that's still a work in progress from my side. If anyone wants to chime in there. async.
Thanks a lot, Maria, for the update and for Stefan. I think does anyone else want to chime in on that topic? If not, I think we can discuss that async. So I guess we won't even talk about timing for Glamstam DevNet 5. I think we'll need to get a little bit closer to the date. But one thing that is definitely worth bringing up ahead of time is whether that DevNet would include Pavel's proposal 8246 to remove the self-destruct burn. I think it's a no-brainer that if we're going to include that in Glamstam, we need to include it sooner rather than later. Does anyone have any concerns or thoughts around this? Does it need to be included earlier, maybe in Glamstam DevNet 4? Or is DevNet 5 the right way to go? Ben?
Did we move that from DevNet 7? Or was that something else?
I think that must be something else. So this is about removing the fact that no ETH gets burnt during a self-destruct event. It just stays in the account. And the motivation for this would be that we avoid any logs due to ETH burns. So it simplifies 7708, if that helps with context.
Can we deprecate self-destruct?
Was that a call to champion self-destruct, Dragon? Removing self-destruct?
Oh, just dreaming.
I guess if we want to remove self-destruct, we better hurry up for Glamstam. So regarding this, I think for today, it feels like everything's a little bit too far out. But I would say that at latest 8246 goes into Glamstam DevNet 5. I don't know if Pavel's in the call and wants to say something.
Yeah, I am. But I don't have much to add. You kind of have to schedule it somehow.
Thanks, Pavel. Yeah, I don't think there's any strong feelings. I think my feeling is that everyone is in alignment that this will go in Glamstam. Perhaps I'll just ask the obvious question, whether anyone's against having that in Glamstam. Speak up now. Otherwise, I think we'll take it to a later call.
Actually, I have one more comment. I've seen 7708 has been updated to be dependency of TCP. So I guess we should consider like the pair of these to be included in some DevNet, I think.
Yeah, that's fair comment. And yeah, I think it's important just to make sure that everyone's aware that it's CFI'd and basically 7708 already has 8246 as a dependency. So yeah, we should get it in a DevNet sooner than later. Amsterdam DevNet 5 seems fine in terms of specs and tests as well from our side. Lewis already has a PR open. It's linked in the agenda in case you missed it, Pavel. You can take a look. All right. Then I think that brings us to the end of our excellent adventure through DevNet scoping. And just to tidy up the agenda with the last topics that are still remaining. Barnabas, do you have any context on your Beacon APIs PR that you wanted to talk about? Produce block v4 with payload.
Yeah, so this Beacon API came up last night, whether we want to merge it in. Right now, I think different clients might treat the produce block v4 payload a bit different, and yeah, I would just like to clarify that we're gonna be using this format or something else. And if you're gonna use this, then we should probably start merging this in too.
Is there anyone in particular that you'd like to call out to for a review, or people on client
Oh,
teams?
maybe Bharat, or I don't know if Jimmy is here, or anyone basically that's active with the Beacon API spec.
I haven't like caught up with the entire discussion, but the one thing that I can like mention is that so in the Beacon API, just in that PR, there are conversations on the builder boost factor, right? So like the amount of the bit boost for like a blinded versus an unblinded payload, which I don't think exists right today because we don't have that notion anymore with an execution payload bit. So so yeah, so so the thing is like the builder boost factor, the definition of that I think definitely changes with EPBS. Like are we boosting a P2P bid or a builder API bid? That's a separate discussion. But one of the things I think the community people wanted was also like standardization along these flags, like the builder boost factor, etc. So I have a spec in the builder specs separate from the builder API spec on just like standardizing these flags, right? For example, one is like min bid, which I think is what like well, based on my conversations with like someone like Lido's, like they're very like, they're very particular about min bid and something like max trusted bid. So these are basically configurations that clients will have to support. So I have a PR in the builder spec to like specify these things, right? Like so that they're kind of like we have a common place for all of them and they're standardized across clients. So I guess we don't have to define, my understanding at least, we don't have to define the builder boost factor probably in the Beacon API, and that can probably move to that conversation can be moved to builder specs, is what I think seems to be the right thing according to me.
Thanks a lot, Barak, for chiming in there. Barnabas, does that give you a bit more context to work with?
I just wanted to raise to CL teams to take a look at it and approve it, or yeah, just get it through the line.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks a lot, Barnabas. I guess we'll take the whip async. And then I think, shout out if I'm wrong, but I think the only agenda point we haven't got round to so far is which proposal to use for the REST SSC engine API spec. There's two proposals open, one's in draft. I'm just going to dump, Mario brought this up in the comments. I'm just going to dump from that in the chat so you can have a look at the links. Mario, did you have any context you wanted to share, or is there anyone you wanted to ask or reach out to about these topics?
I think the only thing that I would like to raise is that we need like some sort of decision at some point, because we want to implement this also in the yields specs so we can start using it in consume and we can test clients with this. But it seems like there was no consensus on which one of these two it's going to be implemented in clients. So just raising it to see if there's already a consensus, to see if already the clients have decided on which one of these is going to be implemented. To be honest, I don't have like the full extent on the status of this. So perhaps we can ask around and see which ones the clients prefer.
Thanks a lot, Mario, for the context. Yeah, that's great. Barnabas has chimed in that Nevermind and Aragon has already merged 764 into their master or into their trunk branches. Do any other client teams want to express a preference? Mario?
Also, I could add, I mean, based on Nethermind and or Aragon already implementing this, I would ask them if they think this is the correct way to go based on their experience, or whether they would change something. Also, I don't want us to rush getting this merged, and but I would like for this to be spec correctly rather. So yeah, I would ask Nethermind, is this the correct way to go? Did you have any complaints or any like concerns about 764? Yeah.
Nice, good question. Does anyone from Nevermind want to? Is the implementer from
Sorry, I
Nevermind?
phased out a bit. Is this about SSZ?
Yes, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
So what's the question? It was really straightforward to do the Barnabas version, because we actually managed to reuse our internal Engine API implementation completely. So we basically just build on top, and now both JSON RPC version and SSD version kind of point to the same implementation internally, just a different entry point with different serialization scheme. So it was very simple from that point of view.
Awesome.
We did
Thanks a lot,
we
Lucas.
did have to, sorry if I can add one more thing, we did have to do a lot of things to make it really performant, because we kind of make it directly from the wire, serialization, deserialization without any copies, but that was a different problem. That was optimization problem.
All right. Thanks a lot. That's a good data point. I see the other proposal 793 is from Marius. Is he still in the call? Are you still around, Marius, and want to chime in? Do you have an opinion on the other proposal?
Yes, I think my proposal is better. um, sorry. No, the difference between my proposal and Barnabas' proposal is, well, both of them were written by AI, but I think the way I structured them is a bit more cleanly. There was a comment from Julio that I didn't understand because it doesn't really seems like he didn't really read it. And the comment from Lukas that he would rather just change the transport and then refactor it, I also don't really think it's valid because I think my version doesn't really refactor the API, but it brings it in a much nicer format than just porting it over, which I think is not. Yeah, it's not clear. It's not clean. It's not a solution that we should go for. We should take the time to implement it properly. It is not a big difference between the two approaches, but I think mine is Claude and mine is much cleaner than Claude and Barnabas.
Okay, we are at the hour. I don't think we're going to get any quick resolution on this one, and we do have ACD on Thursday to argue there about whose Claude's better. But Lucas, sorry, I will let you.
Okay, so I basically had, because to be honest, I didn't read all the details of Marius PR either, because it's 1,100 lines of code, and I'm a bit lazy to read AI generated spec. But my question is, Marius, are your changes anything beyond routing? Because my goal is to have the same code underneath for JSON RPC and SSZ, and if I can have that, if I just need to route it to different URLs, I'm fine with it, whatever. But if I have to do some special changes into the data structures and handling, I don't want to do that.
No, it's routing and error codes. Those are the two things that are different between the
okay,
two.
routing is trivial because this is basically REST routing. Error codes, it would be good to have a summary of what's different in error codes.
Yep.
to understand if this is a problem or not.
All right. Good questions, and I'm sure Marius will be very happy to discuss it further. I'd say we can take it async in the meantime. Barnabas, go for it. One last.
Yeah, just one last point that my change suggestion was basically just to get it through the line as fast as possible and with as little changes as possible. So so that's why I think Nethermind and Aragon could already merge it into their master branches, because there's really not that many changes that are required to get this through the line and just get a huge performance benefit, basically without any re-architecting of the engine API. So that was my original proposal as well. I didn't want to introduce a huge change, because every time when we try to introduce a big change, coupled together with the SSZ stuff, then it seems to be just getting dropped instead of getting implemented.
Thanks a lot, Barnabas, for chiming in with that. I think that's really relevant. Perhaps we can separate the two concerns.
I think I think
Marius.
the counter take is, should we really merge something that is that is not meaningfully better than what we currently have?
Why is it not better?
Well, because it's the way it is implemented is just super weird. Like, it breaks every REST API convention. It is horrible to maintain and to extend. And like we have one opportunity to change the way we do things, and I think we should do that instead of just putting shit on top of what we have right now.
All right.
I actually say, well, I think I want to respond to Kev and I want to agree with Marius and respond to I see where, well, whatever else it is. I think there are a finite number of opportunities. It's very clear that people will just settle on something and use it until it like can't be used in this sense. We've had essentially the same engine API for years conceptually, and I have a strong suspicion that the first SSC-ish thing that lands will be the one we use for a long time, and it's worth being careful about that. And that the argument for doing it has been like as some kind of emergency measure has been, I'm sorry, super unconvincing.
Just a reminder that we don't need to decide today, and we are over time, but it's my bad. I should definitely schedule the arguments earlier in the call. Sorry about that. But unless anyone has something else to add, I'd say we take it async. Please discuss in the Discord, and we can bring this up in ACD on Thursday. Hope that sounds good to everyone. Anything else that someone wants to add? All right, then. Thanks a lot, everyone, for coming. Have a good week. Happy dev netting.